Picture this. A right back who can shut down elite wingers, dictate play in possession, and still change a game in the final third. That's the standard we're working with. As always, the criteria here is based purely on ability right now, not past reputations, peak performances, or recent form alone. It's about who is genuinely operating at the highest level in the present moment. There will as ever be plenty of debate and a fair few honorable mentions at the end. But without further ado, here are in my view only, the 7 best right backs in world football right now. 7th, Trent Alexander-Arnold. It might feel harsh to place him this low, but context matters. Even in recent England squads, Thomas Tuchel has selected multiple players capable of operating at right back for England national football team, and notably, that group didn't even include an injured Reece James. Yet still, Trent Alexander-Arnold has often been absent from those plans, though that likely reflects tactical preferences as much as pure ability. In truth, Alexander-Arnold is somewhat unique. His skill set doesn't fit neatly into traditional right-back comparisons, which makes him difficult to rank against more conventional defenders. That uniqueness is also part of the reason he comes in at 7th. Without falling into cliché, his defensive game can occasionally be exposed, particularly in one-on-one situations. In a modern era where full-backs are increasingly expected to be defensively solid, often converted center-backs or highly disciplined specialists, he doesn't always rank above the more orthodox options ahead of him in this list. However, going the other way, there are very few players in world football who can match his creative output. His passing range, vision and ability to act as a primary playmaker from deep are essentially unmatched among right backs. In that sense, you could argue he is one of the top 3 most influential footballers in this entire list and possibly even the most technically gifted. At 27, he has endured a mixed start to life at Real Madrid, with injuries disrupting his debut season. But history suggests patience is often rewarded there. Players such as Karim Benzema, Casemiro, and Thibaut Courtois all had uneven starts before thriving, while even Luka Modric was initially labeled one of the league's weaker signings before becoming indispensable. That's not to suggest Alexander-Arnold is destined for the same trajectory, but rather that adaptation time is normal. With Dani Carvajal approaching the latter stages of his career and assuming fitness stability, Real Madrid will likely continue to reshape the right side around him. If that happens, it wouldn't be surprising to see him fully settle and thrive in his new environment. 6th, Konrad Laimer. Joshua Kimmich doesn't appear in the 7 because he has spent the majority of recent seasons operating in central midfield rather than at right back. That said, if he were still playing there regularly, he would still comfortably rank among the best right backs in world football. From a tactical perspective, it also makes sense for Vincent Kompany to deploy Kimmich in midfield for FC Bayern Munich. Not only is he exceptional in that role, but Bayern also possess another high-quality option at right back in Konrad Laimer. Laimer, like Kimmich, is naturally a central midfielder, but he has increasingly made the right back role his own at Bayern. Signed from RB Leipzig in 2023 on a free transfer, he arrived as one of the standout products of the Red Bull system in Austria. His impact has been significant. After an impressive second season in Munich, he was named Austrian Footballer of the Year last summer, and he has arguably been even better this campaign when fit, with only a couple of unfortunate muscle injuries interrupting his rhythm. Laimer is defined by intensity. He is a relentless runner, a strong athlete, and a fierce competitor who excels in duels and ball-winning situations. In terms of positioning and natural defensive instincts as a full-back, there are still occasional signs that it is not his primary role, and he lacks the natural creativity of more attack-minded players in this list. In that sense, he could hardly be more different from someone like Trent Alexander-Arnold. However, even in attacking output, Laimer has taken clear steps forward this season, contributing 3 goals and 9 assists for what is arguably the strongest team in world football right now. He may only have been playing regularly at right back for a relatively short time, but his development there has been impressive, and even so, I still believe there are only 5 better right backs in the world at present. 5th, Denzel Dumfries. The first of the 5 right backs I believe are ahead of Konrad Laimer is Denzel Dumfries, and in truth, there is very little separating him from several others in this group. A veteran of the position, Dumfries began his career at Sparta Rotterdam before progressing through SC Heerenveen and PSV Eindhoven, eventually earning a move to Inter Milan. Of Arabian and Surinamese heritage, and famously named after actor Denzel Washington, Dumfries is above all an elite physical specimen. Standing around 6 feet 2 inches, he combines blistering pace with immense strength and a level of intensity that can sometimes border on recklessness. When he manages to channel that aggression effectively, few fullbacks in world football are as impactful. Long dismissed for supposed technical limitations in his youth, he has developed into a reliable crosser, powerful ball carrier, and even a capable finisher. He is also dominant in the air, a threat from long throws, and consistently makes aggressive well-timed runs into advanced areas. If this were a list of wing-backs specifically, Dumfries would arguably be first or second in the world. As a more traditional right-back, however, particularly in a season disrupted by ankle problems that required surgery, he slots in at fifth. He has recently hinted at a desire to play in the Premier League, and among full-backs currently outside England, few profiles feel as naturally suited to its pace and physical demands as his. Fourth, Jules Kounde. Barcelona signed Jules Kounde in 2022 for a reported fee of around €55 million, and although his move from centre-back to right-back wasn't originally expected, he has firmly established himself at one of the biggest clubs in world football. Now, still only 27, Kounde has already made over 180 appearances for Barcelona, the majority of them coming at right-back. Over the past 2 seasons in particular, he has been one of the team's most consistent performers. That said, he looked slightly fatigued during the first half of this campaign, eventually picking up an injury after an intense stretch of football in which he had barely missed a game for club or country over the previous 5 years. His role at Barcelona is also extremely demanding, operating under Hansi Flick's high defensive line, often receiving limited cover ahead of him and frequently being required to support the center-backs in transition. That workload is especially notable given he wasn't even signed as a right-back in the first place. Even so, when fully fit and in rhythm as he was last season, Kounde is unquestionably among the best full-backs in world football. The only real question is whether Barcelona can better manage his minutes. The emergence of young talents such as La Masia graduate Xavi Espart could help ease that burden, giving Kounde the occasional rest and helping maintain his peak level across the season. Third, Reece James. Chelsea may have struggled for consistency, but one player who is almost always reliable is Reece James. Even if the closing stages of that 5-0 defeat to Paris Saint-Germain weren't his finest moment. After several seasons disrupted by recurring injuries, James has enjoyed a much more stable campaign, missing only a handful of games. Now 26, this has arguably been his most complete season yet in terms of overall performance. For England national football team, a position that once sparked constant debate now feels far more settled. James looks for the first time like the clear first-choice right-back. In terms of all-round ability, he has a strong case as the most complete right-back in world football. Like many modern full-backs, he is versatile enough to slot in at center-back or even in midfield, and his skill set reflects that flexibility. Physically, he is powerful and difficult to dispossess, combining strength with pace and work rate. On the ball, he is confident driving forward, capable of beating defenders, and consistently delivers dangerous crosses into the box. As club captain, he is also led by example, contributing 7 assists and a couple of goals from right back. Impressive numbers given he still missed several matches. Second, Jurrien Timber. Things are really starting to heat up in the podium places. Jurrien Timber is an exceptionally complete right back at just 24 years old, especially considering he missed almost his entire first season at Arsenal due to an ACL injury. Originally developed at AFC Ajax, he has made a strong return, even displacing Ben White, who himself performed very well in his absence to become one of the most balanced defenders in world football. Naturally a center-back during his Ajax days, Timber brings elite defensive fundamentals to the right-back role. His tackling, one-on-one defending, and aerial ability are all top-level, while his comfort in possession and ability to build from the back make him a perfect fit for modern systems. Perhaps most impressively, he has a true defender's mindset. In an era where many full-backs are primarily attack-minded, Timber stands out for his awareness, positioning, and anticipation. He genuinely looks like someone who enjoys the defensive side of the game. That said, he is far from limited going forward. Even while playing in a more disciplined role, he has contributed for goals and 7 assists, making him one of the more productive full-backs across Europe's top 5 leagues. In short, there is very little Timber cannot do. and given his age and trajectory, he still has significant room to develop further over the coming years. 0. Honorable mentions. Before we get to the top spot, there are a number of players who deserve a mention. Matheus Nunes of Manchester City, Jeremy Frimpong of Liverpool, and Marcos Llorente alongside Nahuel Molina at Atletico Madrid all make the shortlist. So too does Ben White of Arsenal, Giovanni Di Lorenzo at Napoli, and Tino Livramento of Newcastle United. Also included are Nordi Mukiele of Sunderland, Daniel Munoz at Crystal Palace, Pedro Porro of Tottenham Hotspur, and Wesley Franca of AS Roma, who has also been capped 5 times by Brazil. All of them were very close to making the final 7. Now, without further ado, on to the top spot. First, Achraf Hakimi. While there is very little separating 5th through to 2nd in this ranking, Achraf Hakimi takes top spot quite decisively. The 27-year-old joined Paris Saint-Germain in 2021 from Inter Milan for a fee that could rise to around €71 million. Born in Madrid and developed at Real Madrid, Hakimi represents Morocco through his parents and has already amassed an extraordinary 95 international caps for Morocco national football team. He is on track to become Morocco's most capped player before even reaching 30 and is already a defining figure in their modern history, most notably starring in their run to the semi-finals of the previous World Cup. Last season was arguably his finest to date. Operating as a key part of PSG's system alongside Nuno Mendes, he played a crucial role as the club secured their first ever Champions League title. He also finished 6th in the 2025 Ballon d'Or voting, the highest-ranked defender in the world. It could be argued that others in this list outperform him in specific areas. Reece James for strength and balance, Trent Alexander-Arnold for creativity, Jurrien Timber for defensive structure, or Konrad Laimer for versatility. But as a complete right-back package, Hakimi is currently in a category of his own. One of the fastest players in world football, operating at the peak of his powers, he is not only a consistent defensive presence, rarely beaten in one-on-one situations thanks to his recovery pace, but also a devastating attacking outlet. He can get beyond opposition full-backs with ease, deliver dangerous crosses like an elite winger, and even boasts a long throw that rivals the likes of Denzel Dumfries. Across pure ability and sustained performance over the last 5 to 6 years, Hakimi stands alone at the top of this list. And that's it for my 7. I'm sure you'll agree completely with every selection and every ranking, but if not, that's kind of the point. That's the end of today's video. Thanks as always for watching. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like, and hopefully that was the case even if you didn't agree with all the decisions. Honestly, it would be a bit dull if everyone did. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one.